오늘 모두 좋은 하루 보내셨나요?
Okay, so let's start with that one. We had 안녕하세요 여러분 that she said first, but I'm pretty sure that everyone knows what 안녕하세요 여러분 means because this is literally the sentence I say all the time. So we just heard this sentence. We will be repeating it together. And I just want to mention to you guys, if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to comment down below and I will respond as soon as I see it. But for now, let's repeat that sentence together. So 오늘 모두 좋은 하루 보내셨나요? So does any of you guys know what that means? Comment down below, but we will be translating word by word. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. So we have 오늘, which is today. Thank you so much again for the follow. Thank you. 오늘, which is today. Okay. 모두. Does any of you guys know the meaning of 모두? Comment down below if you guys know what 모두 would mean. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. So what does that mean? Comment down below if you know what 모두 would mean. This is a harder word, so if you have not seen it before, this is very, very possible because especially in this case, right, it is not used very often. Thank you so much for the follow, guys. So many people. Thank you so much for being here today. So does any of you guys know the meaning of 모두? Comment down below. I'm gonna give you a few more seconds to try and guess. Even if you are not sure of the meaning of this word, you can still try and comment to guess what 모두 would mean. So comment down below what 모두 would mean. I don't know, wait. It's okay, no worries. So I'm gonna give you a small hint. So it is very similar to the word 다. Okay? Or yeah, 다 can be quite similar if you guys know what it means, right? 모두. Comment down below if you guys know the meaning of that word. Okay? So I'm gonna give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sophie would be correct. So technically 모두 would be like as a whole. So you can say like all, everything. Let me just see on a Naver dictionary if there is possibly other translations, like other ways we could translate that. But it's mostly used as a whole of something. So yes, it can mean everything. So you know, a whole of something. It can also mean everyone depending on the context. So here it is mostly used in the context of everyone, right? Because she is talking to us. So 모두 is like a whole of things. So either everything, everyone, all. So something that is complete and includes everything, basically. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So yes, that would be correct. This is a harder word, so maybe you were not familiar with that one. I don't know why I didn't just click there because we should have also, yeah, all, everything, everyone. So it is a whole on its own. So let's go with 전. So 전, technically in this case, it is more of an adjective, okay? It comes from the verb 좋다. Does any of you guys remember, right? So-called feature. Yeah, I really love this feature. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. So does any of you guys remember the meaning of 좋다, or in this case, 전, which is as an adjective? Comment down below if you are familiar with that word, 전, or 좋다, which is originally from the verb 좋다, right? Comment down below if you guys know. I'm going to give you a few seconds to comment down below the answer. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you guys are correct. This would mean good. So something that is good. So here this is an adjective that is complementary to this word. Now, this word is a little bit tricky. 좋다, to be good. Yes, exactly. So like I keep mentioning, okay, you guys are probably familiar of the 3 levels of enjoyment, as I call it. So this will be the first level, 좋다, to be good. So what does 하루 would mean? So it means something, but there is a specific twist to it. Does any of you guys know what 하루 would mean? Comment down below if you guys know what 하루 would mean. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to try and guess. Even if you are not sure, you can still try and guess the meaning. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. So I'm gonna give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I see some good answers. So technically, 하루, it is like the meaning of it is day. So some people can use it in context of today or just day in general, but something that you need to remember that is very, very particular with that word is that it only lasts for one day. So 24 hours. For example, you wouldn't be able to say 2 days with haru. So it has a duration of 24 hours only. So you cannot use that word whenever you want to talk about day that lasts for longer than 24 hours. For one specific day. Yeah, exactly. So it's only specific to one day only. And then we have 보내셨나요? So this is a form of question that is in the past tense, right? Since there is the double shut, and it is from the verb 보내다, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it's 보내다. Let me just check on Naver Korean dictionary. 잠시만요. 보내다. Yes, exactly. 보내다. Like this. Oh, sorry. 보내다. Like this. This is the original tense of that verb, and it is to spend. Basically, to send, to spend. Okay, in this case, it's basically asking, did you guys spend or had a great day today? So, did everyone has a great day today? Basically, that would be how we can translate, or like it is spelled here, did you all have a good day today? That is how you can also say that. Thank you so much for the share and the like. Thank you. So today, everyone, all, okay, good day did you spend or have? That would be how we translate this sentence. So let's go to the next one. However, if you have any questions about this sentence, please comment down below and I will answer as soon as not exact translation, but in Korean makes sense. Yeah, exactly. That would be correct. In Korean, that makes perfect sense. So yes, let's continue with the next sentence now.
요즘 날씨가 조금 쌀쌀해졌어요.
Okay, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. So let's repeat that sentence together. I love that this one has one sentence by one sentence because the Jesusu 1 intermediate level last week, that was too overwhelming for us. So let's repeat that sentence together. 요즘 날씨가 조금 쌀쌀해졌어요. So 요즘 날씨가 조금 쌀쌀해졌어요. So let's translate everything together. We have 요즘 that we see in a lot of my Korean podcasts. Does any of you guys remember what 요즘 would mean? This is a word of frequency and time at the same time. So what does 요즘 mean? Comment down below if you know the answer or if you want to try and guess the meaning of 요즘. What does that mean? So comment down below. I'm going to give you a few more seconds to try and guess the meaning of 요즘. Most of the time you will see that word in the beginning of the sentence. So sometimes it can be not connective, but it gives context, I guess, to the sentence. So comment down below what 요즘 would mean. I'm going to give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you guys are correct. So technically, 요즘 would mean these days. In some contexts, you can also say like recently because these days would be kind of, it's recent. But sometimes it's still going on. So it's not always just in the past. I'm late. Hello, everyone. Hi, Audrey. Hello, Tiff. Thank you so much for being here today. It's okay. We barely started, so it is totally fine. So yes, these days, 날씨가, which is weather. So we have seen it a lot last week because the podcast that we have seen was talking about weather. So these days, the weather, 조금, which is a little bit, so something that is little, 쌀쌀해졌어요. Does any of you guys know what 쌀쌀하다 mean? What does this verb mean? Comment down below if you guys know what this verb means. So 쌀쌀하다. Does any of you guys know what 쌀쌀하다 would mean? Comment down below if you know the meaning of that verb. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. So what does 쌀쌀하다 mean? Does any of you guys know the answer? If you have time, please. Yes, I will try. However, it's very difficult for me to go over some specific things in my, how can I say that? In my Korean study session. However, I will be asking you guys for recommendation. Let me just take a screenshot for our next Friday Korean study tips. So I might use that one in our next Korean Friday tip. So I just took a screenshot to get reminded. So to be chilly, yes, Kay, that is correct. So 살살하다 is the verb to be chilly. Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks to you. So to be chilly, that is 살살하다. Here in this case, it's more like been chilly or became chilly. Okay. So I think if I'm not mistaken, it's a complexion with the verb 짓다, like to become, and it's in the past tense with the double chiot right here. So it's basically saying like it has become or it has been. Okay, a little bit. The weather has been a little bit chilly these days. So that would be, here they say lately, but that could work, but these days would be a better translation to 요즘. Okay, so these days, weather, a little bit, have been chilly. So that is how we would translate this sentence. So let's go to the next one. However, if you have any questions about that one, feel free to comment down below.
낮에는 가끔 덥지만 밤에는 추워요.
Okay, so these sentences are very, very short compared to last week. Okay, so let's repeat that sentence together. So 낮에는 가끔 덥지만 밤에는 추워요. So let's translate everything together. So not just right here. What does that mean? Comment down below. Definitely shorter. Yeah, we got traumatized by last week's sentences. So this is like a piece of cake, literally looking like that. So what is not would mean, or here in this case, 낮에. What does that mean? Comment down below if you guys know what this word would mean in Korean to English. Comment down below if you know the meaning of that word. So comment down below, right? Not. Originally, when it's just like that with the 받침, it's more pronounced like not. However, since there is a vowel after that, it becomes more like 낮에. Comment down below if you guys know the meaning of that word. Comment down below. Okay, I'm gonna give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I see a lot of diverse answers. So one is actually correct. A lot of you guys said night. 밤 would be more night, but not or 낮에 would be more like daylight. Okay, so this is the word that you will see when it is associated with daylight. So it can be translated to during the day. So that would be correct. But that was a great guess, you guys. That was a great guess. We are here to learn, so it's totally fine to make mistakes. And the more we make mistakes, actually, the more we learn. So not, right, is a word that is used for daytime. So in the daytime or during the day, that can be how we translate that, since we have the 에 particle that is associated with time or location. So in this case, it's more associated with time, right, because it's not a location. And then we have 가끔. So 가끔 is another word of frequency. So you will see a lot of words of frequency in Korean. So what you can do is also go over on Google if you are not familiar with a lot of words of frequency and put like Korean frequency vocabulary words, and you will get list of all those words. So it's very important to learn because you will see that they use a lot of frequency type of words. I will remember the mistakes and the right answer will pop up in my mind. Haha. Yes, exactly. Most of the time it's better to make mistakes because when you make mistakes, it will be easier for you to remember because you're like, oh, I don't want to make the mistakes again. But if you don't even try, then you probably won't even remember because, you know, your brain didn't, there's a connection in your brain that is different if you try than if you don't try. So here, 가끔, which is sometimes. So that is the frequency of the word sometimes. Thank you so much for the follow and the like. Thank you. You guys are the best. So during the daytime, sometimes. 덥지만, so here it's from the verb 덥다. Does any of you guys know what 덥다 would mean? What is this verb? So this is from the verb 덥다. However, it is paired with 지만, which is kind of a negation way of something, of saying something. But here, 덥다, what does that mean? Comment down below. If we are talking about, before we talked about the weather, right? In the past sentence, she was saying that the weather is, I'm not sure, but there was the word weather. That's all I remember. But if it is related to weather, what does 덥다 would mean? So you have probably seen it in conjugated form, which is 더워요. 더워요. does it give you a small hint? 더워요, right? If it is conjugated, 더워요. Does any of you guys would know the answer? The word is banner on chat. Ah, really? That is banned on chat? I didn't know that. That is why you wrote it differently. Okay, that is interesting. I don't know why it's banned. That is very weird. Is it just in my live streams or everyone? That is very confusing. Anyways, the verb 덥다 is to be hot. So that would be correct. I was like, hit? That is, you know, something else. But yes, 덥다 is the verb to be hot. So during the daytime, sometimes it's hot. You have 지만. Whenever you add 지만, it makes it, I think it has a double meaning, you know. Yeah, of course. But I was surprised. Anyways, 지만, that's why it didn't let me send it. Ah, that's why. Okay, so you guys were not able to send it. That is why I was like, no one knows that verb. That is very rare. Anyways, so 지만, we know that it means but. So it's kind of a shortened version of 하지만. So you remove the 하 part, okay? You put 지만, and then you add the first verb stem. So the first verb stem of 덥다 is 덥. You remove the 하 part of 하지만, and it becomes 덥지만. Does that make sense? So hopefully it makes sense. So hot, but 밤에는, which is the opposite of 낮에. Okay, so in the nighttime, we have the air particle, so we know it's a location or time. So it can be in the nighttime, sorry. That is how you can translate this part. We have 추워요, which is from the verb 춥다. So comment down below if you guys know what the verb 춥다 is, and I'm pretty sure you will be able to comment that word. So comment down below if you guys know what 춥다 would mean. 춥다. What does that mean? So I'm going to give you a few more seconds to try and guess the meaning of 춥다. What does that mean? I see a lot of great answers, so I'm going to wait a little bit more seconds if anyone else wants to try and guess the meaning of the verb 춥다, which conjugated form is 추워요. So I'm going to give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that is correct. 춥다 is from the verb to be cold. So here it's saying in the nighttime, sometimes it's hot, but during nighttime, it's cold. So that would be how this sentence is translated. So hopefully it makes sense to you guys. We will now jump to the next sentence. However, if you have any questions about that one, feel free to comment down below. And thank you so much for the like. Thank you. So adding 와요 makes the verb formal, right? So only if you add the 요 part, it makes it formal. But the 와 is because when the verb, wait, let me go back. So here, let me just write the original tense of the verb for people that are very visual. 춥다. Okay, so this is how it is written in its original form, okay? Oops, sorry, let me just... 춥다. Okay, so whenever a verb stem is ending with the be up, so the be right here, whenever it gets conjugated, it becomes 워 instead. So instead of 춥다, when it's conjugated in its original form, it would be 추워. So it becomes 추워, and if you want to make it formal, then you add the 요 at the end. But only the 요 makes it formal, and the 워, the 워 part is added because when 춥다 is conjugated, the be up under here changes to 워 instead. So does that make sense to you? Hopefully this is helping you understand better. So these are also some verbs that are, the verb stem is ending in u, right? It becomes 워 most of the time as well, but when it's a be up as well, it becomes 워. So 춥다, 추워요, 덥다, 더워요. Does that make sense? Adjectives are so hard to learn. Yeah, a lot of things in Korean language are very difficult to learn, but I feel like the more you get exposed to it, the easier it becomes. So hopefully this makes sense to you guys. So we will jump to the next sentence. I hope that this answered to your question.
여러분이 사는 곳의 날씨는 어때요?
Okay, so let's repeat that sentence together, which is very, very interesting. So we have 여러분이 사는 곳의 날씨는 어때요? So this is a question. Obviously, we have 여러분이. So we know that it is everyone. Can that be a Friday learning tip? Creating nouns or adjectives. So do you mean like taking verbs and transforming them into nouns or adjective? Is that what you're saying? Let me just take a screenshot quickly of that. But is that what you mean? Yes? Okay, perfect. I will see that. I am taking screenshot of everything. So hopefully we will have it this Friday, or if it's not this Friday, I will try to make videos out of it very, very soon, because that is actually a very interesting topic that I never thought about. I never thought about that. So thank you so much for making me, have this idea. Thank you. Thank you so much for the like as well. So let's continue. We have 여러분이, which is everyone or guys. So if you are familiar with my Korean study live streams, you know that I use that word all the time in my study session. So everyone, guys, we have 사는, which once again, it is from a verb actually that is put into a noun. I'm not great with like English, so I think it is put as a noun, right? So do you guys know from which verb this would originally be from? Comment down below if you guys know which verb that would be from. If you guys are familiar, and if you look at the sentence, right? What would that be? Also, if you guys know, right, the original tense of the verb, you can comment down below, as well as the translation. I was like, oh, what is the word again? Translation. So what does 사는 would mean? Comment down below. Okay, what does that mean? I see a lot of great answers, so I'm going to give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this one might be a little bit confusing because we have the verb to buy, like someone wrote down below. That is 사다. However, in this context, it's more like 살다. So if you see the rest of the sentence, we are not purchasing weather. So it's more like 살다, to live. However, this can be very confusing, right? Because here in this case, it doesn't have the real at the end. So that is how it can be confusing, and you might think it is to purchase. But with the context of the sentence, we know that it is actually to live. So in some contexts, I guess we remove the real. And for example, here it becomes together, okay? Hi, how do you have 2 subtitles? So this is actually a plugin that I have put into my computer. I can show it to you guys. So it's Language Reactor. So you can add it to your computer and you will be able to have those 2 subtitles. However, the person that is making the video needs to have put some Korean original subtitles to be able to have this. If they didn't, it won't work. So hopefully this is helping. Okay? So yes, so together it becomes more of like the place you live. Okay? So 곳 is a lot with location, if I'm not mistaken. So together, right, it's more like the place that you live in. Okay? And since we have the a particle, okay, it is kind of possessive. Okay, and then we have 날씨는, which is weather, and 어때요, right, which is 어때, what is like, what is it, depending on the context. So here it's basically saying that everyone, where, okay, what is, okay, where you live, the weather. So like, what is the weather like where you live? So hopefully this is a better translation. It's very hard to explain, right, from Korean to English sometimes, because it doesn't make sense if you translate right away, like everything. But together is basically asking us like, what's the weather like where we live? So everyone, guys, the place you're living in, the weather, what is it, or how is it? We can also say how in this context. So that would be a little bit how we would translate the sentence. I'm not sure I translated it very correctly, directly, but hopefully it makes sense to you guys in English as well. Does this, please comment down below if it makes sense to you guys, because I don't want to continue if it doesn't make sense to you guys or if you have any questions. So I will just wait a couple more seconds. If you have anything you want to check the subtitles. Yes. Yeah, I always check the subtitles, but sometimes they are not like very accurate. You will see. What is the right translation? Yeah, I know. But I just want to make sure like what I said makes sense to you guys. That is more what I'm asking. So hopefully this is making sense to you guys. Like I mentioned, sometimes the subtitles are not accurate. You will see eventually. But right now it seems pretty accurate. The Korean one. What do you mean, like the word by word? Is that what you're saying? But yes. Hopefully it makes sense. 오늘은 비해요? 그래요? 어디예요? Yes. So you want to see word by word? I'm not sure I understand. But yes, hopefully it makes sense to you guys what I explained. So like I said, what is it? How is it? That can be how you can translate 어때요? So let's jump to the next question, sentence. But if you have any questions, okay, comment down below.
날씨가 바뀌고 있나요?
Okay, so let's repeat that. Wait, you understood what I said? 네? Yes? Okay, so let's repeat that sentence together. So 날씨가 바뀌고 있나요? I'm not sure if it's 바뀌고. Let me just repeat what she said.
날씨가 바뀌고 있나요?
Okay, yeah. 바뀌고 있나요? So let's translate that sentence together. So we have 날씨가, which once again is the weather. We have 바뀌. Okay, so this is from the verb 바뀌다, if I'm not mistaken. Does any of you guys know the meaning of that verb? Comment down below. And we have 고, which is a connective that means and. 오늘 날씨가 좋아요. 그래요? 어디예요? 근데 여기에서 날씨가 너무 좋아요. So comment down below if you guys know what 바뀌다 would mean. So I'm gonna give you a few seconds to comment down below the meaning of this verb. So this is from the verb 바뀌다, if I'm not mistaken. So yes. Yay, I understand it. Today the weather is good. Yay for me. Yeah, that is amazing. So yes, 바뀌다 is the word to change. So we have it, right? Changing, switch. That is how we can translate this verb. We have the 고 part that means and. So if you guys are familiar with my Korean study live streams, you guys know that it is used a lot and a lot of times to mean and. However, it is only used in verbs, adjectives, and action. So you can only use the 고 part in between verbs, just like this, right? It's two different verbs, or adjectives, because most of the times also adjectives can be turned into verbs, so they have a similar, how can I say that, not purpose, but since they are similar, we can use that with adjectives as well, or in between actions as well. So most of the time it will still be verbs, but yes. So changing, and 있나요, which is from the verb 있다, to be or have, depending on the context of the sentence. So here it's basically saying that where you are from, right? That we talked about. Like, is the weather okay? So this is a question. So a lot of times there are different ways that you can ask questions, but if you do like 나요, a lot of times it can be like that, or if you want to be super formal, it can be like the ending with double 기억, right? And so 가, okay? So depending on the context, how you want to be formal. So here it's saying that is where you are from, the weather also changing, okay? So that would be how we would translate this sentence, which is very, very short, but it can mean a lot of things. Thank you so much for the repost and the follow. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's continue with the next sentence. I feel like right now, today, it's been super easy because the sentences are so short, but that is okay as well. So let's continue with the next sentence. But if you have any questions about that one, feel free to comment down below.
아니면 그대로인가요?
Okay, thank you so much for the rose. Thank you, Anderson. Thank you. Really appreciate. Thank you so much for being here once again today. I really appreciate it. So let's repeat that sentence together. So we have 아니면 그대로인가요? So another another question sentence that is very short but has deep meaning. So we have 아니면. Does any of you guys remember what 아니면 mean? Comment down below. If you guys remember what 아니면 would mean, comment down below. What does 아니면 mean if you know the answer? So I think we have seen it only a couple of times before, if I'm not mistaken. But does any of you guys know what 아니면 would mean? Comment down below. Don't be shy to try and guess the meaning of 아니면. Even if you are not sure what that means, you can still comment down below the answer. What does 아니면 would mean? Comment down below if you guys know what that would mean. I'm gonna give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Tiff is correct. It means or. So, we have 아니, which normally means no, and 면, that means if or when, but together right here, it's more like or. Okay? So, or, like for example, because it is very similar to whenever we see like a word plus 있나 or just na, which means also or, but here it's mostly used in the beginning of the sentence. So the other one is plugged to another word, but this one is on its own, and most of the time it will be at the beginning of the sentence and it will connect with the previous one. Okay, so this or this. Okay, so is the weather in your country changing or 그대로인가요? So another way to ask questions is also using this ending. So as you can see, there are very many ways that you can ask questions in Korean. You can also just ask a random, not random, but normal ending and just add a question mark, and that would work as well. So there are definitely multiple ways. So we have 그때. Does any of you guys know what that would mean? 그때? Or together? 그대로인가요? So this is a very interesting word. I don't think I have ever seen it like all of this together, right? But comment down below if you guys know what that would mean. 그대로인가요? So that is very interesting. Does any of you guys know the meaning of this one? It's very a long word, right? There are so many words that starts like, and I can't keep them all straight, haha. Yes, all of them, right, starting in 그, they all have a very similar meaning, so it can be really confusing, right, sometimes. So here in this case, it's more like staying the same, right, because here we have the verb like 있다, which is like to be, so it's like to be the same. So that would be how we can translate that, to be like that. That can also be, because 그때, a lot of times it can be like this, or there are also 그때, like this. It's double, yeah, it's not the same, right? Yeah, it's a double D, 그때. Okay, then together, I guess 그대로 might be together. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So 그대로 would be together, okay, and that would be as it is. Okay, so 그대로, as it is. So as it is, let me just write that down. And then after that we have the verb to be, so it's kind of both of them plugged together. So like to be, okay, to be as this, okay, as it is. To be as it is. That would be how we would translate that one. Let me just write that very quickly here. So that was a very confusing word. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my screen. Okay, so yes, hopefully this makes sense. So many unknown words to me. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, even myself, I have never seen like this chunk of word together, but I know that this part is from the verb to be, so I knew that it was to be something. So here in this case, it is to be as it is, so the same, it doesn't change. Hello Mimi, thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing? So or as it is, to be, in a question. So does that make sense to you guys? Hopefully it does. Thank you so much for the heart, me. Thank you. So we will continue to the next sentence. However, since this word was a little bit confusing, if you are still unsure to understand, okay, please comment down below and I will try my best to answer in another way. But for now, we will continue to the next one, okay?
9월 23일부터 가을이 시작됐어요.
Okay, so let's repeat that sentence together, okay? So 9월 23일부터 가을이 시작됐어요. Okay? So let's just say that together. We have 9월, so we know that here in Korean, they don't use words like January, February, March, April, etc. I don't get the connecting inkayo. So it is a form of ending that is with the verb ita, to be. So not ita, but ita. Like this. Let me just...
저는 요새
Sorry about that. Okay, so ita. Okay, so this is from this verb, the ending, to be, which is ita. And the way that sometimes how can I say that? Like some endings of the sentence in question sometimes. Like before we saw, for example, 있나요, if I'm not mistaken, right? What? Okay, it doesn't want to do a question mark. So 있나요, question mark. Or with the verb ita, you can also use 이가요. Even though it's not going, but sometimes, I don't know why it doesn't want to write question marks, but sometimes the ending, okay, whoops, sorry, I forgot, 인가요. I didn't write it correctly, sorry. So 인가요 would be a complexion of the verb ida, to be, and the ending to ask a question. So there are different ways that you can ask questions in Korean, like when it comes to the ending, and 인가요 would be one that you use especially with the verb ida. So hopefully that makes sense. There might be other verbs as well that you use that, but I'm not sure I remember exactly like which one and in which context. So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you so much, Mimi, for the roses. Thank you. So does this answer to your question? Hopefully it does. Thank you, Mimi. You're the best. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much for the like, Stefan. Thank you so much for being here once again. I just saw you join. Okay, so like I mentioned, in Korean, the months are used with numbers. So you will never see January, February, etc. So it will always be the number of the month paired with 월, which is kind of the hanja, the counting unit that you use when you count months. Okay? Thank you so much for the rose, Sophie. Thank you. You're the best. 고마워요. So yes, so here it would be September, since it is the 9th month. And then we have 23일. So that is how in Korean, okay, we normally use Sino-Korean numbers with months and days as well. Thank you so much for the rose, Mimi. Thank you. You guys are the best. Oh my God, you guys are the best. I really appreciate you guys. So here, whenever with days and months, whenever we count them, we use Sino-Korean number, which is based off Chinese characters. So it is the one that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So you use this number system with months and days. Thank you so much for the repost, Stefan. Thank you. And then we have 1, which is a word that you use for days. And then we have 부터. So we have seen 부터. So sinul numbers, yes, exactly. So sinul numbers, you use it with months and days as well. So you don't use native Korean numbers whenever you are counting months or days. Like for example, when you are saying the date, just like that, it is sinno Korean number and not native. So we have 부터. Does any of you guys remember what 부터 would mean? So I have seen it a couple of times before in my Korean study live streams. So does any of you guys remember what 부터 would mean? Okay, so this is kind of, we can, the hint that I have for you guys is something that I guess can be, I forgot. It's okay, no worries. I'm pretty sure that right after you will remember what that means. So 부터 is kind of like a word of distance. A lot of the time it can be a distance in between cities, or sometimes it is related with time. Okay, so from, like referring to time. So yes, would from be correct? I mean, 부터 is the starting point. Thank you so much for the share. You guys are the best. Thank you, thank you. So 부터 would be the starting point. So I guess we can say from. So from this to this, for example. But it can also be paired alone. So 부터 can also be found on its own as more like a starting point. So starting from September 23rd, which was like 2 weeks ago. So starting from 2 weeks ago, this. Does that make sense? So starting from this and then this. My birthday was then. Yeah, when was it again? It was like around that time, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it on the 23rd exactly? It can be in the beginning of the sentence. So technically here in this case, 부터 is always added to the starting point. So you won't see it hanging out by himself first. So in the sentence, okay, you won't see it starting by 부터. It will always be glued to the starting point where it is starting. So yes, this is I don't think I have ever seen that word hanging out by himself. It's always glued to another one. Because the starting point, it's always precise, right? So you cannot just be like from and the end. Like you need some context. From what exactly? So that is why that it is most likely paired with another word. So in this case, starting from September 23rd, we have 가을. Does any of you guys remember what 가을 is? So it is a season. Do you guys remember with the little trick I gave to you guys a couple weeks ago? What does 가을 would be? Which season would that be? Comment down below if you guys know which season that would be, 가을. And if you guys remember also the small trick that I gave to you guys to remember the difference, especially during 가을 and 겨울, which both sound very similar, but are different seasons. So comment down below. I remember that one. That is amazing that you remember. That is amazing. I see a lot of great answers. Everyone have amazing answers today. So that is correct. 가을 is fall. So this is the season of fall or autumn. And for anyone that was not there when I explained the tip to you guys, if you take the ka, right? Here, the word is starting with a, right? Ka. And then autumn, like fall, it doesn't really work. Unless you're thinking like, oh, this is the second letter of the word, it's starting in a, and then the second letter of fall is a as well. So that can work as well. But ka, autumn, starts with an a. So that is how you can also remember that 가을 is associated with autumn. Because of I remember autumn. That is amazing. I'm happy to hear that my trick is helping you guys. And that was a very, how can I say that? Very random tip, because I didn't even know myself before that day. I just made that up right away, but I'm happy to hear that it is helping you guys remember. That's a good tip. I'm happy to know that is a good tip, because I know when I started to learn Korean, I used to always get confused between 가을 and 겨울, and then eventually with time I got able to differentiate them. But I wish I had that trick, you know, when I started to learn Korean. Random but helpful. Yes, that is that is all the tip that I have. They are all very, very random, but somehow they are useful. So, sometimes the most random one is the one that you remember the most. So, yes. And then we have 시작됐어요. So, here we have two verbs that are kind of combined together. So we have 시작하다, which is to start something, and 되다, which is to become. So it's kind of saying to become the start of something. We have the double 시옷 under right here, which is in the past tense. So it's basically saying like started. Okay? So fall time started from September 23rd. You give awesome tips. 감사합니다. 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 Thank you so much, guys. I really, really appreciate when you give me these kind comments. It really means a lot. So I'm happy to hear that, my tips are also helpful to you guys. So here, okay, September 23rd from autumn started. So that would be how we translate this sentence. I have to go by. Thank you so much for being here once again today. Hopefully you will be able to make it another day. Thank you. 안녕. So do you guys want to do one more sentence? Comment down below if you want me to do one more sentence for today. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. Do you guys want me to do one more sentence for today? Comment down below and I will make another one. If not, we will continue this podcast tomorrow as well. Sorry, I'm sick today. Oh no, I hope that you will feel better very, very soon. I hope one more, please. 네, 감사합니다. Okay, yes, please. Okay, yay, I'm happy to hear that you guys want to do one more. So let's do one last one. One last one? One last more? Nah, that doesn't make sense. The last one today.
시작됐어요. 저는 요새 차가운 커피 말고 따뜻한 커피를 마셔요.
Okay, so you guys are lucky because this sentence is slightly longer than the other ones. So let's repeat that sentence together. So 저는 요새 차가운 커피 말고 따뜻한 커피를 마셔요. Okay, so let's translate that right now. That translation makes no sense. Like you mean here? I mean, that would make sense, no? I didn't know you could get cold coffee. You don't know iced coffee? You don't know iced coffee? Oh, wow. This is all I drink. I don't drink hot coffee, even during winter. I only drink iced coffee. That is interesting. Not cold coffee, like literally your coffee gets cold, but iced coffee. You've probably heard of that, right? So we have 저는 because of cold. I love iced coffee. Me too. I only go by iced coffee. Even during winter, it's like -40 in Canada, and you will still see me drinking my cold coffee. Okay, so let's just say that together. I know iced coffee, not cold coffee. Yes, exactly. But because in Korean, right, it would be more translated to like cold than ice, because it would be using like ice. But here she doesn't say ice. So that's probably why, right, the translation is like that. But iced coffee would be the correct translation. So I have 저는, which is the formal way of saying me. So if you guys are not familiar with my Korean study live streams, you know that whenever you use 저는, you always need to end sentences in some formalities, either 요입니다, 합니다, 습니다. However, if you want to speak casually to someone, I don't recommend unless you are very close to that person. You can use 나는 and remove any formalities to the end of the sentence. Okay, so let's continue. 요새. I'm not sure what that would mean. I guess it would mean like lately, but I have not heard fortress. I don't think that would be the correct translation, so let me just correct right here. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. But I'm pretty sure it means kind of like lately. It's a word with frequency. So 요새. 잠시만요. 요새. It's kind of these days. It's another interesting. 요새. Fortress. This is definitely not the translation to that. Sometimes the translation, I'm like, okay. So I guess it's another way of saying these days or lately, nowadays. So it is intermediate. So you guys, maybe that's why you are not familiar with it. I wasn't familiar with that one either. So I'm gonna be writing it down below so that I know next time. Very interesting. Okay, so let's continue with the next one. Why does it want to open all the time? 잠시만요. Okay, let's continue now. So we have 요새 that we know it is these days, lately. We have here 차가운, which is from, I don't remember the original tense of the verb, but here it is translated more as an adjective. Do you guys know what that would mean? Comment down below if you guys know what 차가운 would mean. So here in this case, right, it is translated more as an adjective. So it is, I'm not sure if it's like the verb 차가다. 차가다? I'm going to be checking at the same time if it's 차가다, the original tense of 차갑다. Yes, that makes sense. 차갑다. Yes. 차갑다. Does any of you guys know the translation to that? But that would make sense because we have u after that. So 차갑다 is the original tense of the verb, but here as an adjective it's 차가운. Do you guys know? I feel like no one knows, right? Okay, so here it is more saying like cold, but we have 춥다, right? That is, for example, you cannot use 춥다 with, like, for example, a drink. So you cannot use 춥다 for drinks. It's more like weather or things like that that you are feeling. But if you want to say that, right, your drink is cold, you use this verb instead. What does 요새 mean? Sorry, I'm late. It's okay, no worries. So 요새? Oh, wait, are you Nia? Did you change again your profile? But 요새 means like these days, nowadays. I'm Suleipa. Hi, hello. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. So yes, 요새 means these days or nowadays. And 차가운 is, like I mentioned, used with drinks, so it means cold or icy. So you can use that verb. Here it's more like an adjective, so you can use that for drinks. Okay, 커피. So we know that 커피 is drinks. Coffee. Iced coffee. Yes, that could be also translated to iced coffee, but like, you know, this translation, they say cold, so it can be both. But this verb is usually used with like drinks or maybe food. I'm not sure if with food that would be 차갑다 as well. But yes, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. 커피, which is coffee. We have 말고. So 말고 is something that I really like. So it has like different meaning. You have probably heard a lot of times like 말고, like how can I translate that? Like saying, because this is from the verb 말다, to speak. Okay, so it's kind of like saying. Here they translate that to instead, but you can also, I don't know how to explain it. Like I understand, right, the meaning and how to use it, but it's bye. Thank you so much for being here, Stefan. I hope you will be able to join us next time. But take care, okay? Take care. So yes, 말고, you can also say that like, I don't want to say this. That is also another way to translate that. But here, except, yeah. Except would be also another way that you can use that. Except, that is correct. 말고, except. Okay, so she's saying that these days, recently, she had been drinking cold coffee. Except, okay. Before, yes, she had been drinking, but except these days, 따뜻한, which is from the verb 따뜻하다, to be warm. So here, to be warm is also used with drinks or food. So, right, you won't say 덥다. 덥다 is also often associated with weather. So here it's more like warm, and you use that with drinks. However, here in this case, it has more the purpose of an adjective. Okay, so it's not like as a verb anymore, right? Since there is the 니은한데 here, it's more like an adjective to 커피, which is coffee. 를 마셔요, which is from the verb 마시다, to drink. So she's saying that these days, lately, okay, before she used to drink cold coffee, except these days, she drinks hot coffee. So like it says, right, before, yeah. So before she used to drink cold coffee during summertime, but now because it's getting colder, she is drinking hot coffee. So that is a little bit of context of how this sentence would be translated. So let me repeat word by word. So I, these days, recently, cold iced coffee, except warm coffee drink. Does that make sense to you guys? Please comment down below if this makes sense to you guys. So that will be the end for today. If you guys have any recommendations of things you want me to talk about in our next Korean Friday tip, comment down below. This is the time I took some screenshots of the suggestions of a few people that commented earlier today. But if you guys have anything else that you want me to talk about, please comment right now. This will be your only chance to be able to be featured in my Friday Korean tip. I don't know how to call it. Friday Korean tip? Korean Friday tip? Not sure. So this is the last chance that you have to be featured in this week, as I will be filming the video tomorrow. Thank you so much for the rose. Thank you for the lesson. Thank you so much for being here. Really, really appreciate. And I just want to remind you guys one more time that since it is Chuseok holiday this week, Channa, whenever I read it, I never understand it. Okay, perfect. Let me take a screenshot of that one. Okay, thank you. So I just want to remind you guys, because this is the week of Chuseok, I am currently having a 25% discount on all of my Korean study resources. So if you are interested, the link is under my description. So this is a one-time opportunity. After that, after Sunday, there won't be any more discounts. So this is very interesting because, for example, this one has more than 40 pages, okay? So the link is under the description if you are interested. This is a little bit what it looks like. This is digital, but you can also print everything. There are two different structured plans, so 30 days, one based on all skills, so to improve all of your Korean learning skills, and one also based on grammar and vocabulary learning. So you guys have two 30 days Korean study planner that will help you guide and structure your Korean planner. There are also some lists, right? Some sheets that you can fill in yourself with different categories such as adverbs, verbs, adjectives, things like that. You can look a little bit more into it. There are also verb practice and also various tracker, journaling sheets, slangs, expression, and also there are some big bingo learning activities. Okay, so there are over 20 pages of those ones. So it's basically just vocabulary sheets in different category of words. So there are more than, like, say 20 pages, like 20, like at least, if I'm not mistaken with my calculation, 25 by 20. I'm not good with maths, but more than 300 words. Are you Canadian? Yes, I am Canadian. So yes, a Hanja lesson. Also, if you guys are interested, with 25 Hanja words and 75 vocabulary words. So this is, okay, a very nice discount that I have for you guys. I don't know the guides where that through. Huh? So if you guys are interested, okay, this is a 25% discount that is already on my shop, so you don't need to add any code, and the link to it is in my description, or on Etsy. If you search Audrey and Seoul, you will be able to find it as well. So the discount is ending this Sunday, so this is a very once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't know when will be the next time I will be having a discount. So this is just for Chuseok, because you know this holiday is all about giving. So I thought I would give you guys a small discount. So do you guys have any more questions? If not, that will be the end for today. I also want to remind you guys that all of my Korean study sessions are available on my YouTube channel. So I will be posting this one in a couple of days. So you can always find the link. Also, or if you search for Audrey and Seoul, you will be able to find my YouTube channel that I post all of our Korean study session if you are not able to make it. So do you guys have any more questions? If not, that will be the end for today. But thank you so much for taking the time to be here and, you know, be willing to hear me up for a whole hour. every day. Not every day, but like 4 times a week, which is a lot. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I don't think you guys have any more questions. So I will be going for today. I will see you tomorrow at the same times, okay? 안녕. 안녕. Thank you so much for being here today, 여러분. 안녕히 계세요. 안녕. 내일 봐요. 감사합니다. 안녕. 감사합니다.